Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Yeah.
Today we're getting into something that really hits home for conscious living and personal development. It connects with that kind of mindful thinking, maybe like managing resources or just being more present, that I know resonates with many of you.
Yeah, definitely.
We're focusing on digital silence.
Yeah.
It's this, well, strange thing in our super connected world.
It really is a modern mystery, isn't it? I mean, we're swimming in this culture of hyper-visibility. Everything, your big wins, your struggles, even just your morning coffee, it's all out there, shared, often filtered.
Right.
And yet there's this whole group of people, quite a lot of them actually, who are online. They see things, they scroll, but they themselves, completely invisible, no posts.
And it's easy to just label them, isn't it? Like, oh, they must be shy, or maybe they just don't get tech. But the research we looked at, it suggests something much deeper. It's often not passive at all. It's a very active, deliberate choice.
Exactly. Beneath that apparent inactivity, there's a really complex psychology at play. We're not just talking about logging off. We're looking at a kind of quiet, you could almost say rebellion.
A rebellion against what?
Against this constant pressure, this cultural expectation to perform, to be seen, to broadcast your life. So our aim today is really to unpack digital silence, not see it as like an absence or a void, but as a real source of self-definition.
And control.
And immense personal control, for the people who choose it.
Okay, let's dive into that silence as control, because that flips the script, right?
Yeah.
Usually we think visibility equals power, influence. But for these folks, staying unseen is actually their form of leverage. How does that work psychologically?
Well, for them, silence is essentially the power to draw a line. It's deciding this part of my life is mine and the world doesn't get access to it. It's about choosing that boundary.
Okay.
And there's a real advantage that comes with that, which the sources highlight, the observational stance.
Ah, right. The ultimate watchers. They're in the audience, not on the stage.
Precisely. They get to observe without that constant need to jump in, to react immediately. They can analyze things, think things through before forming a judgment. They completely avoid that cycle.
What cycle?
Where you interrupt your own actual experience to craft some kind of status update about the experience.
Ah, right. You're documenting instead of living.
You got it. And this stance, this quiet observation, it seems to be a direct pushback against what some call identity crafting.
Identity crafting. Let's unpack that. How does posting all the time subtly change how we see ourselves?
Well, social media platforms are basically designed to reward showing off, right? To amplify noise. So they constantly push us to define ourselves through what we share.
Okay.
And if you really look at it, a lot of frequent posting isn't just sharing. It's like an unconscious audition.
An audition? For what?
For belonging, for approval. Every filtered photo, every carefully chosen word in a caption is sort of asking, here's the version of me I'm putting out there. Is it okay? Do you like it? Am I good enough?
Wow. Quite a thought. That we're constantly performing, seeking that external thumbs up.
It can be, yeah.
So when someone consciously decides, nope, I'm stepping off that stage, what happens inside their head? What's the immediate shift?
It's pretty transformative, actually, because they start to unhook their self-worth from those external numbers, the likes, the comments, the shares.
They stop counting.
They stop thinking in terms of what makes a good post, will this get engagement?
Wow.
Instead of framing a moment for the camera, they just live it for themselves.
So the focus shifts inward.
Massively. It moves from proving who you are to just being who you are. There's this deep desire for what psychologists call congruence, making sure your inner self matches your outer expression.
Which the digital world, with its filters and curation, constantly kind of threatens.
Exactly. It can distort that alignment.
Okay. That desire for congruence, for inner alignment, leads us neatly into the specific psychological traits researchers see in people who don't post much. What stands out there?
Yeah, the findings are pretty consistent. People who hold back from regular posting tend to score higher on things like self-restraint, a capacity for deep introspection, and emotional independence.
Emotional independence, meaning?
Meaning they're less swayed by what everyone else is doing or saying, less prone to social comparison. They're not really trying to prove they're happy or successful online. They're more invested in actually understanding themselves, their own feelings.
And I guess that ties directly into resisting that instant gratification thing we all know, the dopamine loop.
Oh, absolutely. It's classic conditioning, right? You post something, you get likes, comments, little hearts pop up.
It feels good.
It does. It triggers dopamine, and that trains your brain. Digital validation equals real value. It's addictive. And interestingly, studies suggest leaning too heavily on that cycle actually makes you less satisfied in the long run.
So, given how potent that loop is, how do the digitally silent manage to stay off it? Is it just that they don't care? Apathy.
It's rarely apathy, it's more like discipline. A discipline that comes from having a strong internal locus of control.
Internal locus of control. Break that down.
Sure. It basically means you believe that you are primarily in control of your own outcomes, your successes, your happiness. It's not down to external factors like luck or, in this case, digital applause.
So they don't need the echo chamber telling them you're enough.
Pretty much. Their sense of worth comes from inside. And honestly, maintaining that in today's world takes real psychological effort. It's not disinterest, it's self-trust.
That self-trust, that internal foundation, it connects perfectly to this next idea from the sources.
Yeah.
Guarding what's sacred. Protecting psychological ownership. What's that about?
Yeah, psychological ownership. It's that really deep gut feeling that a thought, a memory, or an experience is fundamentally yours. It belongs to you.
Raw, unfiltered.
Exactly. Defined only by how you experienced it.
But hitting share changes that fundamentally, doesn't it?
It really does. The second you post that private, maybe sacred moment, like, say, a moment of quiet grief, or a big insight you had on a walk alone, that feeling of it being solely yours starts to fade.
It becomes public property.
In a way, yes. It's suddenly open to interpretation, maybe judgment, maybe even mockery or misunderstanding. It loses some of that pure internal quality. Its sacredness gets diluted.
So choosing not to post isn't about being withdrawn or uncaring. It's often because they care so much about the realness, the meaning of the experience itself.
Precisely. They're protecting the integrity of their lived experience. They understand that once it's out there, it's changed. It's no longer just theirs. They're keeping their most meaningful stuff. Well, untouched, undigitized.
And that often leads to being more present in the moment,
Definitely. It enhances authentic presence.
which paradoxically seems to help build stronger real-world connections. That's what the sources suggest.
Pulling back digitally helps you connect better offline. How does that work? It sounds counterintuitive, right? But when you stop broadcasting your life constantly, you stop chasing that sort of thin digital closeness.
Right.
Instead, you start noticing who actually reaches out, who checks in on you without needing a status update as a prompt.
The people who remember you exist even when you're quiet online.
Exactly. And the sources describe that kind of connection, the unbroadcasted kind, as feeling, quote, heavier, warmer, and infinitely more real. The relationship is the point, not generating content about the relationship.
Yeah, you save the stories for the actual coffee meetup, not the pre-coffee Instagram story. The connection doesn't need broadcasting because the bond itself is the evidence.
Beautifully put. It's depth over sheer reach. Realizing that the most important conversations often happen, quietly, without an audience.
Okay, let's shift to the last major piece here.
Yeah.
Escaping the pressure. The performance pressure. A lot of people who step back say they realized they were just performing life, not living it.
Yeah, constantly curating this highlight reel.
And that leads to burnout, right?
Straight to emotional burnout. That relentless, often unspoken pressure to keep topping your last curated post. It's exhausting. And we should also touch on the darker side of it.
Which is?
For some, the retreat isn't just about reclaiming presence. It's driven by fear. Fear of judgment, rejection, or just being fundamentally misunderstood online.
And that fear isn't just general anxiety, is it? There's a term for it.
Yes, it's the high cost of self-presentational pressure. It's that draining, constant awareness of being watched, potentially scrutinized.
Always on.
Always on, always filtering. They become hyper-aware that anything they share could be ignored, dismissed, twisted. For some, the emotional toll of just being visible gets too high. So pulling back is literally self-preservation.
So stepping away becomes an act of healing, a realization that, hey, I don't actually owe the world a performance.
Exactly. Or even an explanation for their silence.
It's the ultimate reclaiming of self.
It really is. It's realizing the profound relief in just doing things again. Cooking a meal without needing to pleat it perfectly for a photo. Taking a trip without feeling obligated to tag every location.
Choosing stillness over the constant spectacle.
Yes. Reclaiming their own time, their own attention from the demands of a potential audience.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Bringing together all these threads from our deep dive into digital silence. The main takeaway really seems to be that this isn't about emptiness. It's an active choice.
A choice for depth, for control, yeah.
and for congruence.
Absolutely. It's fundamentally about staying true to yourself. When you strip away the layers of filters, the curation, the performance, silence helps keep your inner life and your outer actions aligned. It protects your personal truth from getting warped by the digital mirror.
And there's actual data backing up the benefits, right?
Like,
Taking breaks from the noise.
definitely. Studies consistently link purposeful breaks from social media posting and consumption with measurable improvements in emotional stability and just overall life satisfaction. It confirms that real meaning doesn't actually need witnesses.
It just needs you to be present for it.
Right. When your sense of self stops, depending on seeing it reflected back by an audience, it gets stronger, more solid. You stop trying to package your life for digital consumption and just start living it in all its messy, complex, unfiltered reality.
We've somehow bought into this idea that being noticed equals mattering.
We have, but the deep truth that emerges here is that often the people living quietly are the ones experiencing life most intensely. Why? Because they're actually there for it. They're noticing the details the performers are too busy documenting to see.
And that leads us to the final paradox, the thought we want to leave you with.
Which is?
When you stop broadcasting every single thought, every fleeting feeling, you finally create the space to hear your own thoughts again.
Mm-hmm. That quiet self-awareness, that's the real destination here. It's like coming home to yourself.
So the question for you listening right now is this. What meaningful moment, maybe a moment of growth or joy or just quiet understanding, have you kept completely, utterly for yourself lately?
Because maybe the most profound things don't need a post. They happen quietly, unseen.
Find that quiet. Protect that ownership. Remember that being unseen can mean being truly present. That's it for this deep dive. We hope this gives you something to think about regarding your own digital life. Do subscribe or follow if you'd like more chats on personal development, psychology, and living consciously.